Hello, English 1210 students. Um, I'm glad to see all of you, even though I'm not really seeing you. And I'm noticing how extra my hair is today. And you might notice that I have a gigantic, gross, ugly bruise right here. Um, my daughter's telling everyone I got in a bar fight. But the truth is, I had dental surgery. They took out two teeth. And I don't know why it bruised here, but that's what it's from, in case you care. But anyway, carrying on. So let me look at my notes here. Uh, I'm going to go through all of the stuff, what you need to do for this week, and then either email me with questions, or chances are you'll have a lot of the same questions that other people in the class will, even though you might think you're the only one. So feel free to post your question to the discussion group on Blackboard. That might help others out. Okay, so right now, for your social science paper, you should have minimum of three sources, and your academic sources. You can have more than that, but you have to have at least three sources, and by academic sources, I mean it has to be a study, an actual study where they went and studied human subjects for the most part. A couple of you are in a couple of the studies I looked at that you guys were looking at. There were animal studies that then they related to human behavior, possibly. But anyway, and don't go to Google Scholar or any of those. Just use the NCCU library website. Okay, and once you do that, and I've gone over how to, eliminate some of the sources that aren't too good, and if you get 1,000 responses, how to pare it down. But I'll put another little worksheet up there that'll remind you how to do it. So, three studies. Now, you might, and the Hidden Brain podcast is just a summary of the study. Okay, so you don't want to have a summary of the study that's meant for, any old buddy who's interested in social science audience. You want something that's written for other social scientists, which means it might be hard reading, but you've probably gotten to that. So you can also put in the summaries. You can put in your summary of the Hidden Brain podcast, but again, three actual studies on your topic. All right. So, what you're going to be doing, what's going to be due for the 26th, which is Thursday, is a revision of the body of your paper. That's your summaries of those in paragraph form of your three sources, and this should include transitions from study to study, where you're saying, well, although Carl agrees that people do this, so Jones says, in fact, they only certain people do that. So, make some kind of comparison if you can. That's one of my paintings right there, wax painting. I'm in my bedroom on my bed because other people are in the house and they're noisy. So, so how do you go about revising? The best way is to read it out loud to yourself, and you will hear so much, because I've said this before ad nauseum. Your ear is smarter than your eye. Your eye will fill things in that aren't actually in there, or will sort of skip over problems, but your ear will hear them. And even if you're not even consciously aware that your ear hears them, look at how big my ears are. You'll as you're reading it, you'll hesitate if something's wrong, if the sentence is awkward, or if there's some grammatical thing. But just keep reading, and then listen back to it and edit as you're going, or maybe even highlight something like, this doesn't sound quite right when I say it out loud. How can I say that better? Okay. And the idea for this kind of writing is just to be as straightforward as possible. and just try and summarize in the most basic terms you can. You're not trying to be cute, you're not trying to be lyrical or funny, you're just trying to be, you might even say dry, but clear is the point, okay? Because people are looking for information here about what these studies say. So let's see now. Um, If you're worried about how the body of your paper is organized, I have a real trouble with organization because I don't really think linearly. What I sometimes do if I'm confused is I write down in like a couple of words on a piece of paper the main point of, or the main subject of each paragraph. And then I can look at, once I've done that for all the paragraphs, I can look at the list, and it's easier for me to say, oh, actually, you're talking about the same thing here, and then down at the bottom I could move that up and it would make more sense. You're comparing two things there, so I can move those two up together, whatever. I don't know, that helps me, maybe it'll help you. Yeah, so just reading it over and making sure it's as clear as possible. And remember, don't use I or me. You're not reporting on what you think, okay? You get next time we're going to do it for the next project is going to be a memoir, so it's going to be all about you, all about what you think. So you will get a chance, and there is definitely a place for that. Excuse me. But this is just a report. You're reporting on what other people have done. So there's no I, there's no me, there's no you. Okay? Well, we're there, but you don't use those words. You got me. Okay. Let's see. So, conclusion. What's due on Friday is a revision of the body and a draft, at least, of your conclusion and your reference list. Okay? So, how do you write your conclusion? Well, I've talked about it on the assignment sheet. So you can go back and look at the assignment sheet. And I've changed the dates on the assignment sheet and reposted, so that'll help, I hope. So go back and look. It'll say final submission or something for the real assignment sheet. And it'll tell you what you need. But I will tell you again, for your conclusion, it can be fairly short, a paragraph or two paragraphs, okay? And a conclusion in a social science paper is the so what. What about it? How do these studies expand our knowledge of this topic? Okay, and what future studies could be done on this topic to expand questions in this topic? What flaws did you find in these studies? Maybe they only studied women, or maybe they only studied, maybe two of them studied 1,000 people, but one only studied 15, and you'd say, and it came up with different results. And so you might say, well, we could do this other one in a greater number of people, so we could see how it stacks up against the other ones. Those kinds of things. So that's sort of using your logic and you really have to put a little bit more thought into that. So it's harder, but it's not a very long thing you have to do. And then that's pretty much it. Don't use the words in conclusion. Just say, this is the significance. This is why it's important. These are the flaws in the studies that I noticed. These studies change what we understand about this topic in this way. If you know, you might not know a ton about what's been done in that topic beforehand. So, and then just end it. There's no, you don't have to make any grand philosophical statements, okay? And remember, you're using a very straightforward, not conversational style, okay? So you're not in a conversation with your reader. You're giving them information. And so it's written, just think about an informational sheet on something that you would buy or something, except for it's written in paragraph form, all right? Okay, so the next, I'm trying to keep each video to 10 minutes, so let's see how we do. The next video will be about documenting an APA style and writing your reference list. So that's all for this one, and goodbye.